Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Bruce McDonald, and this is the Talamanca Review. It's 1:35 p.m. on Monday, the 6th of January, and I just took a little bit more time off over the holidays. Starting to get a lot of messages, so I thought maybe I should do a podcast. I don't know, people worrying. Everything's fine here. Everything's always fine here. Nothing really to discuss. One of the reasons that I have not been podcasting is I haven't really had a lot to add. I think that most of the stuff that I wanted to get out, I got out. And it's a pretty clear picture of what I think is going on in the world. And it's all organized. There's nothing random about it. None of the stuff they tell us is going on is really going on. There's really just, only one more curtain to sort of pull back, I guess, which I haven't spent a lot of time on this particular one just because it's different. And it's probably the thing which is most responsible for bringing about the change that we're now going through. And what I am referring to here is the instability of time, which was not always the case. Time was not always quite so unstable. It's become unstable, I think, since World War II, largely because of I don't know how to put it. Certain breakthroughs or discoveries or certain information that was passed to us, the human race. And it's always like this, by the way, folks. If you think, there's anything magical about inspiration or revelation, not really, no. It's just the same machinations of the world working in a different way. Working to bring about the same end. Nothing different about it at all. All right, so this topic came into my mind when I did the podcast, Another Weeping Woman, which, if you know poetry, it's a great podcast. If you don't know poetry, you might not know what's going on there. But that's fine. Not everybody needs to know poetry. But I noticed in doing that podcast that there was something in the public record which was not as I remembered it. And that was that the American poet Wallace Stevens was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1955, which I am 100% certain of. Okay, I don't know how all of you come to understand when you're engaged in a time anomaly. I think everybody's had them now. The word on the street is the Mandela effect from Nelson Mandela. And it is believed that the phenomenon commenced with people having different ideas about when Nelson Mandela was born and when he died. So Mandela was the first Mandela effect, is basically what they're saying. Okay? Now, to take somebody out of the public record as a Nobel Prize winner is a significant violation of the timeline. And these are all violations of our timeline, by the way. I don't know if I can be any more clear about that. These are all violations of our timeline. And timeline violation in a free will construction, which is what we're living in, is considered quite serious. It's considered an encroachment on the foundation rule of free will. Okay? And that's why it's taken so seriously. If it seems like I have an uncanny acumen in this topic, well, let's just say that I picked it up working on the book about time and the galaxy. And there's a different time in every galaxy. There's a different time in every solar system. But it's another thing that we have to realize and we have to grapple with, which is that time is recorded differently in every different geographic spot in the universe. Time is not recorded the same everywhere. Okay? There are certain environmental conditions that have to be present for time to move in the way we're accustomed to in the third dimension. So there can be no doubt in my mind, Wallace Stevens did in fact win the Nobel Prize. Trying to figure out where else I want to go today. So if time is not sacrosanct anymore, then what kind of a reality are we living in? There's a question right there. If time is no longer sacrosanct, what kind of a reality are we living in? And can we get a refund? Can we get some kind of refund? It's a very interesting question. But this reality is not functioning the way it is supposed to be functioning. Okay? Now, part of that is good news and part of that is bad news. Because the thing being tinkered with the most now is the timeline and how this human race is going to go forward. And some very powerful forces have been brought in to leverage this situation, to ameliorate this situation. Okay? Yeah. Now, because of the things I've discussed and other things which I might spontaneously bring up here today, 2025 is going to be a very colorful year. There's no escaping 2025. 2025 holds all the promise we've been told about. Everything that's coming. It's all tucked into 2025. Isn't that interesting? All of it tucked away into 2025. There are more events tucked into 2025 than most decades. 2025 is going to hit faster than any year we've ever lived up until now. 2025 is going to seem like it's on steroids. It will be a relentless year in terms of change and data. Tremendous change. I think most of the advancements in 2025 will be towards the Jerusalem Project. The Jerusalem Project is the utility of Jewish religious mythos to rebase the world in a false miracle or false spiritual event, a magically contrived miracle event. Okay? Well, they don't really need to do much except get the whole Jerusalem narrative moving. And the reason they don't have to do too much is that this narrative is already so invested in people. Everybody's invested in this narrative. Everybody wants it to be true. On some level. But I don't think it's going to be true. I don't think anything true or good is going to happen in 2025. Well, let me take that back. I don't think anything good is going to happen in 2025. I think it's going to be a very, very difficult year. Again, I don't mean to be the prophet of doom, but I just don't see any way around it. I mean, every opportunity to make a right decision is forfeited. And I mean everybody. There's nobody making the right decisions. Nobody doing the right thing. Okay? We never should have gone to electric vehicles. We never should have started another new resource race for nonsensical resources, which China already had a distinct advantage in. Okay, so here we're talking about electric vehicles, right? Why are we moving the world toward EVs? Nobody's prepared to supply the world with EVs, just China and Tesla. Why didn't we just go to the water engine? Why again a soil-destroying, resource-laden, century-long project? And that's what it'll be if they get their way. The electric battery will go into a century. Another sort of nonsensical sojourn on the road. It's just ridiculous. Anyways, I don't have a whole lot to say. I might come back on later tonight. I don't know. But I just wanted to pop on, say hello, talk about time, and then I'll be back to regular podcasting fairly soon.